Hello, and welcome to the Law Be With You podcast show. A brand new podcast show from myself, Ase. So, why am I doing a podcast? What is the Law Is With You all about? Well, we were going to go with the name of The Law of the Land, which really sounded cool. And I thought, yeah, I'm a genius. I'm a creative genius here. This is a great name. I'm inspired. Maybe the Holy Spirit kind of gave me that revelation on that one. But in going through the podcasting process on the platform that I'm using, I found out that, well, I think it was more my wife that found out actually, that there is another podcasting show called Law of the Land. So ours would have been The Law of the Land, and theirs was Law of the Land. Pretty much identical. So I kind of thought, okay, that doesn't really work. It's not going to be fair on their podcast show, and it would confuse anyone that would be potentially interested in my podcast show. So I thought, great name, really love that name, but gonna have to change that completely. So it is The Law Be With You, and The Law Be With You was more kind of inspired from my wife, who really I was kind of harassing for, come on, can you think of a really good alternative name? I wanted law in it. When I'm saying law, I'm saying law as in L-O-R-E rather than L-A-W. So that the law that I'm referring to is law in terms of stories and inbuilt logic and a coherent storytelling, patterns, motifs that you get within the realm of story, no matter what type of story it is. And I'm really coming from the background of being a Christian, someone who has a great appreciation and love of the Christian faith, loves apologetics, loves natural theology, loves philosophy, especially when it's philosophy that kind of is talking about our world, the universe, the galaxies, potentially the multiverse. I love cosmology. I love the ideas of you get in quantum mechanics, that you get in cosmology, that you get in the origins of the universe. Those type of big ideas about space and time, the matter and energy, entropy in the universe, fine-tuning of the universe, the laws of physics, the laws of nature, the different type. That's the different type of laws. That's the LAW laws. I'm really into those sort of ideas and genres, and getting into Christian apologetics for which I've been into for a long time. They expounded upon the fine-tuning argument and the Kalam cosmological argument and the argument for God from beauty and from necessity and the contingency argument, and there's so many kind of great interesting arguments. Whether you believe in these arguments or not is debatable, and I've watched a lot of debates of really top-notch Christian apologists versus really awesome atheist opponents debate all these things, and honestly, they're great arguments, and the best debates are the ones that make you think and learn more about your own worldview, but also learn about the opposing worldviews as well. They're the best sort of debates. But that's only part of it's a big part, but it's only part of the sort of interest that I have. My wife sometimes tells me off because I have to kind of be careful, because I do kind of have a lot of interests. And another interest that I have is in the sort of fantasy, science fiction and fantasy genre, and that will range from Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars geeky fan, love Star Wars, the movies, some of the animated stuff, certainly the lightsabers, and a lot. I have a lot of Star Wars t-shirts. I love the sort of Star Wars fandom and culture. I think it's really awesome. I'm a big fan of Lord of the Rings and that sort of Tolkien's world, the Silmarillion, the Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings itself, and some of the extended sort of Tolkien sort of universe that you get, the mythology that comes from that sort of realm. I'm also really interested in C.S. Lewis to a degree, but not so much into the sort of Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe sort of books. Well, I've got a copy of them. A friend gave them to me actually, but more sort of Tolkien in terms of the actual world building, the world of sort of Middle Earth and Arda, Middle Earth, and all the ideas of that you get from the Valar and the Maya, and that sort of grand epic storytelling. Really into that. Totally awesome. And my wife laughs at me for being a big geek on that as well, and often complains that the Lord of the Rings movies are way too long, and 3 hours plus for one film that doesn't finish, and so altogether it's about over 9 hours worth of movie. For the fan like myself, that's awesome, that's great. The more the better. For someone like my wife that kind of follows a little bit some of my passions, but kind of has her own as well, it's probably not as great. Although she did enjoy the Hobbit series, and she did get me. She did buy me cinema tickets to. I think we went to the Electric Cinema to watch the Hobbit, and the Electric Cinema is we are kind of under a different era at the moment, but when the cinemas are fully open, the Electric Cinema is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, still functioning cinema, I think, in England, if I'm correct. So we'd have our annual Christmas, sort of, I guess, sort of treat, to go and watch the different episodes of The Hobbit. The first Hobbit film was really, really good film. The other one's not as great, but the first one was really, really good. Anyway, in this show, this is a bit of an introduction. It's a long introduction, so please forgive me, but it is a bit of an introduction of sort of the things that I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be talking to some friends of mine as well on different episodes, depending on how available they are. Sometimes some of my friends who I want to talk about these things can be quite busy, but we will see. And they will be talking to me about different things that this show will be looking at as the lore be with you. So we'll be looking at some of the lore in Star Wars and the ideas and motifs and archetypes that are in that story, and pick out some truths in there that could be really relevant from a Christian or theistic point of view. The same will be said for Lord of the Rings, but also we'll be looking at things like comic book genres, whether it be like a Spider-Man series or whether it be Superman, and obviously the sort of comic book movies that are being made into TV shows on streaming platforms, or are made into movies in the cinema or streaming platforms these days, are very popular at the moment. So you've got a lot of the Marvel content that's really popular at the moment. You've got DC content, which is looking at Superman and Spider-Man. Actually Spider-Man is Sony technically, even though it comes under the Marvel banner. But yeah, certainly the DC shows like Superman. There's a Superman TV show at the moment, which we'll be talking about Superman and Lois Lane, and that looks like a decent show. There's going to be the Zack Snyder version of the Justice League, which was controversially re-edited into, I think, almost a completely different film by Joss Whedon. But there's a lot of hype about the Snyder version coming out very, very soon this month. There's a lot of hype to do with the Batman series, in terms of the film coming up very soon. I don't know when that's going to be out, but there is a lot of hype on that one as well. And obviously, like in this genre, a lot of different competing companies, organizations are really out to produce a lot of content, so there's a lot for us to talk about. And one of the things I do want to talk about will be a new Superman film, potentially by J.J. Abrams, who, interestingly enough, was a big part of the Star Wars universe with the new sequel trilogy, and hopefully we will be able to kind of talk about that a little bit now. I've wrote a bit of an article about that, and I'm going to be sharing that with you in a moment.